All right. Hey. We are back, episode 2 with Dear Big Sis with me, Allyson. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for watching. I'm excited to keep going with this. This is just the second time we've done it. We've had a lot of people writing in. We've had about 12 people write in. That's a lot to me. That's more than, zero. So it's more than 5. So that's great. So we're here with episode 2 of Dear Big Sis. Hey to my TikTok little sisters and my YouTube little sisters. What's going on? We are about to get started. Okay. So as always, before we begin, if this is your first time coming, thank you so much for watching. Dear Big Sis is basically where you write into me, write letters, tell me about what's going on. You can either do it through our Google form or through my Google form, or you can actually write me a letter in the mail. I don't know if anybody's been putting stamps and sending me letters, but I'm ready. I'm going and I'm checking my little box at the mail, what's it called? At the mail place. What's it called? The post office is what it's called. I could think. But I've been going to the post office, checking to see if you write anything. So if you want to send me a letter, link is in my bio on TikTok and on Instagram if you want to actually write me a letter. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Hey. I see people saying, hey, big sis. All right. So let's get started. So our first letter comes from, I believe this is anonymous. Okay. So it says, no, let's start with this one. So this letter is from Ellie. So if Ellie, you're watching, thank you so much for writing in. So it says, Dear Big Sis, I have been having allergic reactions really often since moving in with my husband 2 months ago. In the last month, I've counted 32 reactions. Whew. There's doctors saying that it's all in my head and not taking me seriously anymore. I will be seeing a third allergy specialist soon, and they're the only ones saying it's not anything mental. They literally told me I look like crud, or whatever kind of word you want to put in there. Since then, I've been struggling with my self-confidence because I look like I've been roughed up, according to the doctors. How can I stay confident and proud while healing from all of the bruising, hives, and blotches that has surfaced? Also, do you have any date ideas that aren't expensive? So first, let me say I am not a doctor. Okay, I'm not a doctor. So as far as what's been happening with you, I'm not sure. For me, if you're having 32 reactions, I would say something is definitely going on. I'm not sure if he lives in an apartment. I don't know if he lives in some type of condo or something, but sometimes things can be in the vents. I know there have been times that we've had to change vents, like when we were in an apartment, because we were like, just the atmosphere just wasn't good. I know for someone else I knew at one time, like they just were breathing in things. They were just always sick. And then when people came into the apartment to fix it, it was like, oh, wow, like you really had some things going on in your vent. So maybe check and see what's going on with the vents. Maybe, if you're allergic to animals at all or allergic to anything, maybe the last owner had pets and it wasn't, it didn't fully come out. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't really know what's going on. So that's what I would say with that. But when it comes to your confidence, that's definitely a big hit to it. And the only reason I say that is because it's something that's on the outside. And so when you go outside, you're self-conscious, right? You're sitting up and you're saying, oh my gosh, what is happening? You're just looking at other people and you're like, I wonder if they're looking at me. I wonder if they're looking at the blotches on my skin. I wonder if they're looking at, what I'm doing. Not necessarily what I'm doing. I wonder if they're looking at me and wondering what's going on with me. And it could be a hit. So the first thing I would say is a saying that I've been saying for a while now: what other people think of you is none of your business. What other people think of you is none of your business. Okay. So don't be concerned with what everybody else could possibly be thinking. I feel like a lot of our confidence issues comes from what we think everybody else is thinking. Right? It's not because somebody's actually said it, because many times the things, and I'm not saying this happens all the time because of course there's bullying, but many times we're thinking about what we think other people are saying. And we're telling ourselves, oh my gosh, they're probably looking at me right now. And they're probably saying to themselves, oh, she looks disgusting. And that's what we begin to tell ourselves. And so we feel self-conscious, but this is what's really going on. We already feel that way about ourselves. And so we're assuming other people think that about us when really we're just projecting how we feel about ourselves onto somebody else. And we're assuming that they're thinking it when they're probably not thinking about us at all. They could be looking at you and you're saying, oh my God, they probably think I look so ugly. But they could be saying, oh, I love her glasses. Right? We think somebody's looking at us and we're like, oh, I know I should have put on some makeup today. And they're just sitting there saying, wow, she has really nice skin. But we don't know that because people aren't saying it out loud. But we're just assuming that when people look at us, it's automatically something negative. So we always jump to the negative instead of jumping to the positive. And people could be thinking something positive, but because we view ourselves in a bad light, because we view ourselves in a negative light, we assume the rest of the world is as well. So the first thing I would say is stop focusing on what you think somebody else is thinking. Okay. The second thing I would say is this is a hard journey. And I'm saying journey because it's not something that's going to happen overnight, Ellie. The thing is, you're going to have to learn to love yourself, scars and all. And I'm not going to say flaws. I'm going to say scars and all, because from the highs, from the breakouts, you may have some scarring. So loving yourself at every single stage. Because when I say I love myself, it's not just I love me and everything is perfect about. No, it's not that. It's a matter of I'm taking the necessary steps to love myself, but I also understand that I'm growing. I also understand that I'm changing. And while I'm growing and while I'm changing, there are going to be things that pop up I've never seen before about myself. There will be things that I go through that I've never gone through before. And I have to learn to love myself at every single stage, no matter how what we deem to not be beautiful, what we deem to not be normal. Y'all know I say normal because I can't stand that phrase normal. Right. So, for example, when I was pregnant with my twins, I was huge. Okay. And I'm not saying that as far as like in a negative light, but I was really big because I was carrying two babies and I was very self-conscious. I was getting a lot of stretch marks. My stomach was looking weird. Like I had never seen it look that way before. But I had to learn to love myself at that phase. And even after my girls were born and I was still, looking like I was pregnant, my stomach was sagging, my stomach still sags. Now, I'm gaining more weight. So I'm having to learn to love myself at this stage, even though it's a stage that I've never experienced before. And still loving myself is still knowing that I'm beautiful and not trying to criminalize myself for the things that I possess that maybe somebody that's popular doesn't. Because I think sometimes what we do is when there's somebody that's big, there's somebody that's famous, and we start comparing ourselves to them. And when we don't have what they have, we automatically assume that we're less than. And so we say, well, if I don't have the hair she has, I must not be beautiful. And the only thing we have to go off on of her being beautiful is what is the likes and the follows and the comments and the shares. And so we've allowed social media to dictate who's beautiful and who's not. And so we say, if you have a lot of followers and you have a lot of likes on a video, you're beautiful. If I post a video and I don't get many likes and I don't get many follows, I'm not beautiful. That is not true. Okay. That is not reality. That is not the real world. But we've made that our real world. Where we say however many likes and follows you have means that you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're perfect. There's nothing wrong with you. And that's not true. Okay. So you can't automatically assume because you don't look like her that's why you don't have followers, or because you don't look like her, that's why, people don't call you beautiful, or you don't have a boyfriend, or you don't have a whole lot of friends. That's not true. So we have to stop comparing ourselves to what people glorify and make perfect on social media. Okay. Because having some blotches and some bruising from a breakout, that's normal. It happens. But I think the world we live in, if your skin isn't super perfect, if your skin isn't super clear, then something is wrong with you. And that is not true. If you have stretch marks, then people try to say it's something wrong with you. If you have some extra meat on your bones somewhere, something is wrong with you. But that doesn't mean that something is wrong, because that's how some people's bodies are made. That's how some people's bodies are created. If you break out in hives, that's not your fault. That's not anything you should feel guilty about. That's not anything you should be angry with yourself about. You shouldn't be angry with your body. That is normal. Same thing with acne scars. Acne is normal. It is a normal part of life. It's a normal part of growing up. But because everybody flaunts clear skin and everybody runs to the comments and everybody runs and says, "Oh, your skin is so beautiful," we automatically assume, okay, if her skin is clear and they call her beautiful and I have the opposite of clear skin, that must mean that I'm not beautiful. Those are the relationships that we try to make, and it is not true. Acne is a normal part of life. Acne is a normal part of life. And then when the acne goes away, there's some scars that are left. Acne scars is a normal part of life. We always say, oh, normalize this, normalize that. Normalize what happens in real life with real people with real bodies. Stop pretending that this stuff doesn't happen. Okay, so this is a normal thing. You're going to the allergy specialist. There's going to be some bruising and some scarring because you're breaking out. Okay, that's normal. That doesn't take away from how beautiful you are. That doesn't take away from how amazing you are. That means that you are beautiful and you got some acne scars. That means you are beautiful and you got some bruising and some blotches. You got some. That doesn't mean that you're not beautiful. And so if you have acne scars, that doesn't mean that you're not beautiful. If you have stretch marks, that doesn't mean that you're not beautiful. You're beautiful and you got stretch marks. Okay, that's normal. Probably 99.9% of people on the planet have stretch marks. But you know why you don't see them? Because people are using correctors and people are using apps to erase those stretch marks. Let's be real. Stretch marks are very real. Okay, and they are a normal part of a growing body. All right, so that's that piece. Then you said some date ideas that aren't expensive. Yes, I do have some date ideas that are not expensive. So I would say one thing that me and my husband just did for our anniversary, we found some recipes that we liked and we cooked them together and then we ate together. So that one is really nice where you don't really have to go anywhere. Going to the park, hanging out, walking around, talking, especially if you're a newlywed, this is the time for you to get to know each other. Okay. And this is the time for you. I don't know if you believe in God, this time to start praying together too. Because let me tell you, and this is for people that's married or ain't married, my little sisters, right? Marriage is a test of character, and your spouse is there to pull things out of you, to show you some of your ugly side, like some sides that may not be the best, that may not help you become your best self, but also to help bring you to becoming your better self. Okay, so this is a time to be talking. This is a time to find out more about how the other person views life. This is a time to, start to get to know each other, become friends, build a great relationship so that nothing can pull you apart. Okay, because the storms will come, the hard days, the hard nights, they will come, the tears will come. I know people think when you get married, everything is perfect. No, absolutely not. It is not. It is not. It is not perfect. It is a test of character because you are joined with somebody else and y'all are living with each other every single day. Like it's a straight test of character. Okay. And it reveals the things in you that need to be changed so that you can become your best self. So this is definitely a time within a few months of getting married to really just get to know each other and build a strong foundation that's absent of other people. And the reason I say that is because you want to have a rock solid foundation so that nobody can come in and tear it down. All right. So that is letter 1. Thank you, Ellie, for writing in. Now we're on to letter number 2. So it says, Dear Big Sis, I had mental health issues due to bullying when I was in middle school. I have separation anxiety, school anxiety, general anxiety, social anxiety, and mild depression. I have asked my parents to get me therapy or at least someone to talk to. Instead, when we argue, they use the fact that I want therapy against me. I also have a mild eating disorder because of the bullying. I skip meals and won't eat. How do I get myself to eating all of my meals and what do I do? So this is loaded. So let me always preface this. I am not a mental health professional. I just speak from experience. I speak from what I've seen other people go through. So I'm just going to speak from experience. I am not a licensed healthcare professional. You should always seek one out. Okay. So let me say that first. All right. So second thing, when it comes to overcoming bullying, I think one of the biggest things that we have to work on doing is separating ourselves from the words that bully spoke. Okay. Now I did a training on YouTube about bullying. Okay. The thing that you have to understand about bullies is that many times when somebody is bullying you, it has nothing to do with you. And I know you like, Big Sis, that don't make no sense. Listen, I'm going somewhere. Okay. When a bully is bullying or is making somebody else feel less than, there are a few reasons why. Okay. None of them have to do with you. It has everything to do with them. Okay. So one of the reasons that bullies bully other people is because they are going through something internally themselves. And the way that they figured out how to deal with it is to make somebody else feel less than. So for example, if somebody is getting bullied at home by an older sibling, if somebody feels like they're not in control of what's happening in their life, one of the things they want to do is try to get control in a different area. And so what they'll do is find somebody within their vicinity that they can make feel less than so that they feel powerful. Because many times bullies are aiming to take your power away from you. And they do that when they say something to you or they make a motion towards you and you react. That's why I always say when it comes to how do you defeat bullies, the first thing you got to do is stop, breathe, and think. Because if every time they say something to you, you respond, they have control over you. If they can walk into a room and you like all of a sudden your attitude is terrible, all of a sudden you feel awful about who you are, they have control over you. So the biggest thing with bullying is to let them know they're not in control. Okay. So that's one of the reasons. Sometimes bullies are going through something internally. And because they're going through something where they feel terrible about who they are, maybe they don't feel like they're beautiful, but instead of them dealing with that themselves, they try to push it onto somebody else. So I don't feel beautiful, but I'm gonna go talk about so-and-so. And it's a temporary relief for them where they're like, all right, I made her feel terrible. Okay. Another reason that I believe bullies bully, which I've experienced personally and also as a teacher, they do it for attention. So if nobody is trying to become their friend just for who they are, they have to figure out a way to find friends. And many times that's through laughter, that's through getting attention some sort of way. So some people bully, and if you notice, if you pay attention to your bullies, this is what they'll do. They'll make a joke and then they'll look around to see who's listening. Or they won't say anything to you unless there are other people around. Or they'll try to bring somebody else into the bullying. So they'll say, hey man, look at her shoes, because they're trying to get attention. Okay. So those are a few of the reasons, or two reasons why I believe that bullies bully. None of them have anything to do with you. They don't have anything to do with you. So somebody says, you so stupid, girl. You are just stupid. How do they know you're stupid? And I'm a teacher, so I always say, a test is not necessarily defining somebody's intelligence, because you may not be book smart, but you may be smart in a different area. You may not be good at math, but you may be great at English. So how are they going to sit there and say you're stupid? They don't even know you. They don't know what you think. They don't know your creative ability. They have no idea who you're going to be down the line. But when we allow what they say about us, which they don't even know to be true, to come into our minds, then we start rehearsing it and believe it to be the truth. So when a bully comes in or they say, oh, you're fat, you're overweight. Are you going to my doctor's appointments with me? No, you're not. Or maybe I know I'm working on my health. Dang, girl, you done got big. You know what? I have picked up a little bit of weight. I was sitting around in the house during COVID, just eating, and I don't have a great relationship with food, so I'm working on it. But thank you for your concern. But the thing is, they're just trying to point out whatever they can to make you feel terrible because they already feel a certain type of way. Maybe they don't feel confident in their own body. So you have to understand that when a bully is stepping in to bully you, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them, how they feel about themselves. Are they trying to get attention? What are they trying to accomplish? And many times they just want to have control, or they want to get attention, or they're trying to gain friends, or they're trying to fit in. So when a bully is bullying you, don't feel bad for yourself. Feel bad for the bully, because something is going on with them. So next time a bully comes in and is like, you look a mess. Are you okay today? Has anybody told you that you look amazing today? Has anybody told you that they care about you? I want you to know I care about you. And they're going to be like, what? What are you talking about? Because I'm concerned for you because you feel the need to talk down to me. You feel the need to talk bad about me, and I haven't done anything to you. So something must be wrong. Are you trying to gain a friend? We can work on becoming friends. But when a bully comes in to bully you, do not take what they're saying to heart. Because sometimes they're either saying something that hurt somebody else say, or like I said, they're going through something internally with themselves. And they're trying to do whatever they can to forget about it. They're trying to do whatever they can to make somebody else feel as terrible as they feel about themselves, because it makes them feel like they're in control. It makes them have a sense of power. It makes them feel like they have a sense of purpose, and they really don't. Okay, so that's my first thing when it comes to bullying. When it comes to the anxiety, okay, I did a live on anxiety. Okay. One of the things I believe is the root, and I like I said, I'm not a healthcare professional, but I believe one of the roots of anxiety is the feeling of not being in control. Okay. So we think about all of these things and we allow them to kind of take over our mind, and we create these huge movies in our head based on something we're worried about. And here's the thing. It's never positive. Like, we're never anxious that something great is going to happen. We're always anxious that something terrible is going to happen, right? It's always some far-fetched, crazy scenario we done made up in our head that we just know is going to happen. And so we allow our minds to go and go and go and go about these situations that we feel like we don't have control over. So then we feel like we become overwhelmed. And I believe that's when the anxiety sits in, because we're anxious about something we're anxious about a situation that we've created up here that hasn't even happened yet in real life. I could listen. And the reason I can speak on that is because I have a history of it, and I still deal with it from time to time. And I have to get back in control of my thoughts. This is the thing. I don't want you to think that anxiety is the top power. You have power over everything that happens up here. And the sooner you tap into that power, the sooner you get back in control of what happens here. And that begins to control everything else that's going on in the body. But when you allow anxiety to feel like it has power over you and that you don't have any control in your mind, that's when you lose the battle. That's when you lose the battle. So when I see something and my mind starts to run, I'm like, whoo, nope, bring it back. Sometimes I have to physically move myself out of that place, whether that's I get up from where I am, whether that's I have to say out loud, Allyson, come back, you're going too far. Or I say, no, I'm not going to let my mind go there. Or I literally snap myself out of it. Because I know that if I let my mind go for too long, it then begins to settle in my body, right? You have shaking, your heart starts to beat really fast, and you're just feeling anxious about something that has not happened yet. Do you realize that? Like, you are literally putting your body through stress as if the situation is happening right then and there, and it's not. The sooner you realize you have power up here and your anxiety does not have all the power, the quicker you are able to begin that recovery of managing that anxiety. Okay, so you got to know that you have control up here. Now, a way that you can start to exercise some of that control is by taking your thoughts from here and putting them on paper. Okay, because sometimes we'll think about something and we'll just let our mind go, right? So it can start with, okay, let's say I started algebra this year. Okay, I wasn't good at math last year. So then when I open up the book and I see all of these numbers and all of these words and all of these letters and stuff start to kick in, I begin to worry that I'm going to fail the class. So now my mind is going like, man, I'm going to fail this class. Oh my God. So now I'm creating different scenarios of me getting F's on tests. I'm creating different scenarios of me being on punishment from my mom and dad. I'm creating different scenarios about me failing this class, all up here. So my anxiety has already taken me to the end of the year, and I'm just at the beginning. My anxiety has already taken me to a place of failure, and I haven't even started the class yet. You see what I mean? You see why if you don't get control up here, your mind can make you a failure before your body ever gets there. So you have to get control up here so that way you give yourself a chance at success. But you won't get to have that chance at success if your mind and your anxiety has already taken over and has already told you that you're a failure before you even failed anything. You have the control. So using that same scenario of algebra, if I get into my algebra class and I say, "Oh my God, this is too much. I feel like I'm a fail." Instead of me staying in my head about me failing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, "Nope, snap out of it. Let me snap myself out of it. I'm going to start writing down all of the things in this syllabus, all of the things in the book that I don't understand. I'm going to tell my teacher at the beginning of the class, at the beginning of the year, hey, I don't understand half of what you said today. Do you have any time after school? Do you have any time during lunch where we can work together?" I'm telling my mom and dad, "Hey, mom and dad, I didn't do too great in math last year. You already know that. We've seen the report card. Is there a way we could put some type of tutor in place? Because I don't want to fail this class." So now instead of my failure being up here, I get rid of that anxiety about failure because now it's on paper and now I have a plan in place to deal with whatever may come. Okay. And I have a worksheet that's in the link in my bio on TikTok and on Instagram. But what you want to do is you want to take that anxiety and put it on paper and then come up with a strategy to deal with whatever you're worried about. Okay. So if I'm concerned about failing my class, I'm going to put a plan in place. Okay. What can I do to prevent myself from failing? I can go to after school tutoring. I can ask my teacher for more work. I could watch videos on YouTube. I could tell my mom and dad I need an after school tutor. Okay. Here's another part of it. If I do fail, what is my plan? Okay. So if I fail this class, I probably got to go to summer school. If I fail this class, I really need to ask my mom and dad for a tutor after school. I really need to call around to maybe some family members that did great and took this class and ask them to come help me. So that way, instead of all of it being up here and you have all these question marks about what could or couldn't happen, now you're able to handle it better because you have a plan. You have a plan to prevent it from happening. And now you also have a plan to say, if this does happen, this is what I will do. Okay. That helps to combat some of that anxiety, even with the social anxiety, right? If I have a good friend and I heard that my friend is talking about me, what does my mind do? I automatically start thinking about how I'm going to fight her. I start thinking about how I'm going to embarrass her. I start thinking about how I'm going to tell all her secrets she told me. I'm going to start thinking about all the different ways that we're going to get in an argument. I think about all the stuff that I'm going to say in the argument. I think about all of that, right? I let all of that take over my mind for like an hour, 24 hours. My mind just going. And by the time my mind is done, by the time I've let my mind and my anxiety run the show, before I go to bed, I'm already mad at my friend. We're not friends anymore. We are enemies in my mind because I've let my mind run the show instead of, okay, I heard my friend is talking about me. Let me not let my mind run. This is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to call her or I'm going to text her or I'm going to write her a letter. Why? She's my friend. I heard this from somebody that is not my friend or somebody that's outside our friendship. I need to go ask. Okay, if she did talk about me, I have two options. I'm either going to let her know that that was not okay and we're going to fix the friendship, or I'm going to let her know that she betrayed my trust and we don't need to be friends right now. But when you have that plan in place, the minute your mind tries to run and create some scenario, you already have a plan there to stop it in its tracks. Okay. You have power up here. Up here, you have the power. Okay. So I need you to start taking that power back. Now, when it comes to your parents, when it comes to dealing with parents and saying to your parents, I really need some help. The first place that I would start, if your parents are not very open, I will start with the school counselor. Okay. The reason I say that is when you say it as a kid or as a teen, parents are not always like Some parents, let me not say all, some parents don't necessarily believe you because some parents are, what's ingrained in their mind is you're a kid, you have nothing to complain about. Okay. So when you try to tell them, they may not always believe you. Now, if they're throwing it back up, throwing it against you, then I think I'm going to get to that at the end of this. But if they're not taking you serious when it comes to you saying to your parents, hey, I really need I need somebody to talk to outside of the home. I need someone to talk to. If they're not believing you, go to your school counselor. Okay. Because a few things will happen. I was a teacher, so that's how I could tell you what's going to happen. They will sit down with you and talk with you. That conversation that you need from somebody, you can have that conversation with them. You know, if you're needing to talk to somebody, your school counselor is there to talk with you. I will always say, my kids having a whole breakdown, I'm like, nope, go talk to the counselor. I need you to go talk to the counselor because I need you to get yourself together to make it through the end of the day. Okay. So go and talk to the counselor. All right. Your school counselor. That would be my first thing to say. Second thing is, if it continues, so if your school counselor feel like that's not enough, then I would suggest talking to your school counselor about talking to your parents. Okay. Or even talking with your school counselor and your teacher about talking to your parents. Because when it comes from another adult, when another adult can step in and say, I'm seeing this, it's concerning me, then it makes them think a little bit harder about it. Okay. So continue to do that. All right. I'm not 100% sure on this, but I do believe that there are different websites that have a number you can call where you can talk to somebody. I know there's a suicide hotline, but if you're not suicidal, I don't know how it works. But there are other numbers that you can call, and there are other numbers that you can that you can call or even text, and you can be able to talk with somebody during that period of time. Okay, while you're going through it. So those are some other alternatives, just in case your parents are still like, no. But I think it's always a good thing to involve your school counselor or your teacher, especially if your teacher has been saying something about it. They can bring it up to your parents and it may come out different. Now, this is what I will suggest though, because you said when you're arguing, they use the fact that you want therapy against you. I have a video where I talk about it on TikTok about how to communicate with parents something difficult. Okay. Sometimes as a parent, this is what I have learned. Well, not just as a parent, but also as a teacher and also being a daughter. Okay. Many times when you all are going through something, you tell your parents, just like right after they get home from work, excuse me, or you tell them right when they're in the middle of something, and you want a great response right then and there. Right? So if you go to your parent and you say, I have a lot of anxiety, I need to go to counseling. You want the response that you want right then and there. I'm letting you know that I'm going to say about 95% of the time, you're not going to get the response that you want. Why? It's not because they're terrible parents. It's not because they don't love you. It's not because they don't care about you. What it is, this is the truth. Hear me. As a parent, when our children come to us with something, we either know how to deal with it or we don't. Okay. Sometimes your parents, when let's say even your mom and dad, right? Maybe they went to your grandparents, their parents, and they said the same thing. And their parents said to them, you're a child. You don't know what you're talking about. And some generations were taught that way. You're a child. You're going to be all right. Okay. You a kid. You good. You got a roof over your head. You got clothes on your back. You got food on the table. What do you have to be anxious about? What do you have to be angry about? That is that is how they were treated. And so that is not how they're parenting because they don't know a different way. So when you're coming to parents and you're expecting them to give you this whole, lovey-dovey, oh, let's call somebody right now. Many times that is not going to be your reality. I'm going to keep it straight with you. It's not going to be your reality. So that's one reason. The other reason is your parents are in the middle of a pandemic with you. If you're in school, then they're worried about you catching coronavirus. If you're staying at home, then they're trying to figure out how to juggle a work schedule and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing at home. Some of your parents have lost jobs. Some of your parents have lost family members. Some of your parents have lost friends to COVID. So they're in a whole situation right now. Okay. Then you're coming along. I'm not saying this is a problem. You're coming along telling them something that maybe they need time to process, but you want to answer right then and there. If you go into a situation and a conversation with your parents wanting the perfect answer right then and there, you're going to get your feelings hurt. And that may not be the answer that you want to hear. I understand. But if you go into a conversation with your stressed parents that may not even like their job, parents who may be getting have a hard situation with their boss at work that they're not telling you about because they don't want to worry you about it. Y'all don't know about that kind of stuff. You don't know about the stuff your parents are going through internally. Maybe they went through something with their parents and they still haven't healed from it. You don't know. And I'm telling you this as a parent. I'm telling you this as a daughter. I'm telling you this as a teacher. There are things that the adults are going through that you don't know about. So if you bring up to them that you're anxious and that you have anxiety and you want to go to counseling and you're expecting them to give you a perfect response, I'm sorry to tell you, you may not get it. This is why I say, write a letter, write an email, send a text. No, don't even send a text. Write a letter, write an email. The reason I say that is this. It gives them time. It gives you time to calm down and to write the letter, not from an angry standpoint, not from a frustrated point of view, but from a thankful point of view, from a kind point of view. It gives you time to process what you want to say. Then when you give it to them, I always say, give them the letter when they're leaving the house, when you're leaving the house. So that way they have time to read it and to process it before they open their mouth and say anything. You want to give your parents time to process what you are saying. This is why you want to give them time to process what you're saying, because they may not know what to do. And because they don't know what to do, they'll start to think about what to do. They'll Google options. They'll call their friends. They'll call somebody, maybe that's in the family, that's in healthcare or whatever sphere what you're talking about. And they will get advice and then also calm themselves down before coming to sit down and talk with you. You don't want that immediate response, because if they just had a bad day at work, if somebody on their job blamed them for something they didn't do, or if they found out they're getting a pay cut, or they found out that they can't work from home anymore, but you're still at home, they're stressed. So they're already in their mind trying to come up with, how am I going to take care of my child? How am I going to feed my child? How am I going to make sure my child is successful? And then you're coming with another issue. They're already frustrated. So the response that you get is going to be frustration. And then after you get that frustrated response, then you're mad and you're like, my mom and dad hate me and they don't love me and they don't want what's best for me. That's not true. You just got a frustrated response because you brought them a situation that they needed time to process first. Okay. They need time to process. When I told my mom I was leaving grad school, we had like a whole argument about it. After our argument was over, what she did was she left the house and went to talk to somebody so she could calm down. Then that next morning, we had a calm conversation. Did she fully understand or agree with what I was doing? No. But did we have a more peaceful conversation? Yes. Because she had time to cry about it. She had time to process it. She had time to talk about it with somebody else. She had time to talk about it and get ideas from them, even get checked from them. Write the letter first. Give it to them so they have time to process. Don't rush when they will talk to you. Don't rush it. Give them time to approach you in their own time. Okay? I am telling you, if you say something that could be overwhelming to them while they're already going through, and you want a lovey-dovey response from your mom and dad, it's not going to happen. Parents are going through it. I have 4-year-olds. I am going through it. Okay? I'm going through it. I don't want no more bad news. It's too much already going on up here. Okay. I need time to process. Okay. It may be a day. It may be 2 days. It may be a week. But know that I'm coming back to talk to you about it. I just need some time to figure out the best way to approach it. Because here's the truth. When your parents brought you home, they were not given instruction manual on how to be a parent. Your parents have never been given a book that says, this is how you raise Allyson. In 5 years, she's going to feel anxiety. In 10 years, she's going to decide to do this. Parents do not know. When I left home with my children, I was terrified. Okay. I ain't never took care of nobody's kid. I don't know nothing about raising nobody's child. Your parents were the exact same and are still the exact same. Either we're Googling it, we're asking somebody older than us, or we guessing. That's the truth. When you become a parent, you may not understand it now, but when you become a parent, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to be guessing. Okay? Parenting is guessing and Googling. That could be a whole book. Guessing and Googling. They don't know. And many times they're raising you from the outlook of how they were raised. Whatever they got, that's all they have to give you. And sometimes, and this is something I had to understand, sometimes I was expecting my mother to be a mother that she didn't even have the capacity to be. I wanted her to be this loving, supportive mother and whatever I did. And I wanted her to be there every step of the way. But the truth was her mother was not there for her every step of the way. So she had no clue how to be there for me in that way. Some of your parents are the same. You have to give them time to process what to do, to learn what to do, to ask what to do, instead of a pop-up response that you are not going to like. Hear me. Hear what I am saying. Your parents love you very much. They want what is best for you. Hear me. No parent is sitting back saying, how can I make my child's life miserable today? Nobody's parent is saying that. If that's what you have been thinking, let me debunk that myth. None of your parents are sitting up saying, how can I ruin my daughter's life today? They are not saying that. What they are really saying is, how can I figure out what's best for my daughter? Because I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to be a parent. My daughter needs me to get her counseling. When I told my mom I wanted counseling, my mother told me that I would be fine. I don't want to tell my daughter the same thing. You got to give your parents time to grow. You have to give them time to learn different things because they just don't know. Some of your parents I've gotten letters from other little sisters on TikTok and Instagram. Some of your parents are saying, oh, you're too fat. You need to be skinny. You want to know why they're saying that to you? Because it was probably said to them. Because they probably heard their parents and they probably heard all their friends talk about people that weren't skinny or talk about people that were a certain size. And so that's all they know. And now they have a daughter or they have a son that is that image of what people in their past used to talk about. And they don't know what to do except to say what they've heard over the years. But if you communicate to them, what you're doing, mom, what you're doing, dad, is hurting me, and you give them time to process, because they have to go in their own minds and break down some of their own boundaries. And you, as their child, you're helping them to do that. But it's not going to happen right when you say, Dad, can you stop saying about me? It hurts my feelings. Because you're going to get an immediate response back based on the old mindset. Not the mindset that he needs to have. Not the healthier mindset that your mom needs to have. It does not change overnight. It has to be continued to be processed out. And you got to give them time. You got to give them time. All right. When it comes to the eating disorder, I will still talk to a school counselor. And I need you to eat. Okay. From what I'm going to assume here. But if I'm guessing that you were bullied due to how you looked, due to your weight, possibly. Happy birthday, Mia. Due to your weight. Okay. This is the thing. Many of us think that the smaller you are, the healthier you are. That's not always true. Okay. That's not always true. Some people that are very small have done some unhealthy things to get there. Okay. That's the truth. So don't automatically assume because somebody is very small, they are very healthy. That's not always true. Don't always assume because somebody is a little bit thicker or a little bit heavier than somebody else that they're not healthy. We have a lot of assumptions. If you Google right now, weights at different sizes, you will see it's a picture of like people that weigh like maybe 170 or 175, all type of different body types, all different body types, all different body shapes. You have to understand that health does not equal skinny. Now, I'm not saying skinny people are not healthy, but I'm saying for the mentality I feel like a lot of people has is if you are skinny, you are healthy. If you're not skinny, you're not healthy. Happy birthday, Mia. I hope you heard me. Okay. Health does not equal skinny. Health is what's going on internally. Okay. So are you huffing and puffing after you walk up and down the steps? You might need to look at some stuff. Okay. And then also looking at what is your relationship with food? Do you eat when you're stressed? Do you eat when you're happy? Are you eating as an emotional response instead of just eating to fuel your body? I know I do. I'm working on that. I know I do. So I know I have an unhealthy relationship with food. So we got to work on what's my relationship with food. So I want you to eat, Lil Sis, because it's important. Because the biggest thing is I want you to live a long, full life. Because you have an answer on the inside of you that's meant to change the world. But how can you answer what the world needs if you're not here? Because you're not taking care of yourself. It's so important for you to take care of yourself. Okay. So one meal at a time. I'm not saying force feed yourself, but one meal at a time. Maybe you start eating, a piece of fruit more often. I'm not saying have full meals all day. And like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. But I want you to take care of yourself and take care of your body because the world needs you. The world needs you for a very, very, very long time. All right. So these were our letters today for Dear Big Sis. If you would like me to answer one of your letters on next week's episode or a week after that, we're going to do this as long as y'all send in letters. Make sure you hit the link in my bio on Instagram or on TikTok. Send in a letter. You can send in anonymous. You can also put your name at the bottom, first name only, but that's completely up to you. But thank y'all so much for joining me. Before we go, before I pray, because I always pray at the end, before you go, there is a giveaway happening right now with me because I have 200 subscribers on YouTube. So I'm really excited about that. I'm celebrating my small wins. So the prizes are you get a digital copy of both my books. And then you also get a face-to-face video chat with me, just one-on-one, not a group, but one-on-one. You get a video chat with me. That's part of the giveaway. So I'm giving away, I think it's 10. Look, I didn't say too many. 10 people. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to comment under your favorite video on YouTube, since YouTube is a giveaway. Comment under your favorite video on YouTube. Okay, just say this is my favorite video. Then make sure that you are, make sure you follow me on YouTube and comment your favorite video. And then also, what else did I say? Oh, and comment done under the the giveaway video on TikTok or on Instagram. And I think those are the only two things. Let me double check. I think that's it though. It might be one more, but I don't think it's one more. Oh, okay. And you got to follow me on TikTok or Instagram. So most of the time, if you're already on here, you already are. So comment under your favorite YouTube video. Say this is my favorite video. Make sure you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, and then comment done on the TikTok or Instagram giveaway post. So this ends February 4th at 8 p.m. Okay, and that's all you have to do. And you can win both digital copies of my book and then a video call one-on-one chat with me. I'm not gonna put a time limit on it because I could talk and I know other people could talk. We could have a good time, or we could just say hi, But that is all for today. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy. I love doing Dear Big Sis. I know I just be talking like we almost been on here an hour, but I absolutely love it. Before we go, of course, I'm going to pray. All right. So Father God, in Jesus' name, I thank you and I praise you for every young sis, little sis that's been watching on YouTube, on TikTok. Lord, I ask that you would be with them every step of the way. I ask that you would be with them in the area of their mind, how they view themselves. I come against every negative word that's ever been spoken against them. I pull it up at the root in Jesus' name. And I speak that, Lord God, when they look in the mirror, they will see themselves, how you see them. They will see themselves as one of a kind. They will see themselves as world wonders because there is only one of them. There never has been another, and there never will be another. Lord, help them to get back in control of their minds. Help them to know that they have the strength to control their thoughts. They have the power to set up plans in place so that they will not be anxious and not worry. For your word says not to be anxious or worry about anything, but instead pray about everything, Lord. Help us to put plans in place so we won't worry, we won't be afraid, we won't be anxious, Lord God, and that we won't set ourselves up to fail before our body ever gets there. We will set ourselves up and think successful before our bodies get there. We will think success so that we can have success, so that we can be successful in every area. Lord, I speak to every young girl here, every gift that she has on the inside, and I speak to it and say that it will wake up even now in Jesus' name, Lord God. They will begin to know what they've been called to do. They will begin to understand the answers that you put on the inside of them. I thank you for every single one of them. I ask you to be with their families, keep them safe from all hurt, harm, and danger. I speak that they will have sweet sleep tonight and every other night beyond. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I love y'all. Peace. Peace.